It's a sunny Saturday morning, it's about 22 degrees out. I haven't vlogged since the Sunday peak week, just purely because I've been absolutely shattered and it didn't get off to the way I wanted it to, but I'll tell you more about that in a bit. But yeah, just done 5 miles of, 4 miles of hill repeats for a 1 mile warm up of this massive hill, I'll show you in a second. And I'm just going to do another 3 miles. I've been feeling really jaded, I think, off the back of that peak week last week, so today, I slept for 12 hours last night, I felt really groggy this morning, but today is only going to be 8 miles, so I'm just going to do a quick 3 miles, trot around Emsworth now, because it's getting really hot and obviously I don't want to overexert myself, but hills went well. I think that's the last hill workout until the marathon, so I haven't done too many. I think I've done about 6 or 7 in total, but that one went really well, and you can see why, because this hill is not the nicest, but yeah, just going to trot around Emsworth now for 3 miles. The legs feel good. Let's go. It goes all the way up there, and there's a crest at the top that you have to run over. It's nice running down. So hot. Really do hope it's not like this for May the 5th. Oh my god, I'll die. I'm tapering, I can stop for a second. I've done the workout, so it's only some easy miles. It's got about 1.5 to go. Anyway, it's so nice. That is the workout done for today, on Friday. Time to go home. I'm going to talk a little bit about tapering and what I'm in the middle at the moment, so yeah, I'll see you there. So what is a taper? So the idea is that you don't actually gain any fitness in a training block of less than 3 weeks. It wouldn't make any sense in the lead up to a marathon or a half marathon or a race to keep increasing the intensity or increasing the mileage. Therefore, for the final 3 weeks leading up to the race, you need to taper off. The reason you taper is that you don't want to build up any residual fatigue in your legs leading up to that race. So for instance, if I continued hitting 80 miles out per week right up until race day, my legs would be absolutely dead and I wouldn't be able to run at my optimum performance. However, what I need to do is maintain my fitness. So yeah, I'm not going to run 80 miles, but I need to run enough so that my fitness isn't going to drop. So that's how you incrementally taper off your mileage and the intensity of your workouts to make sure that A, you're not building up fatigue in your legs and you're not going to be burnt out for race day, and B, so that you're not actually dropping fitness leading up to race day by tapering too much. So the way that it's recommended that you actually do this is by tapering your miles off for 3 weeks in the lead up to your race, with your longest run being 3 weeks before. So obviously I did that last Sunday, being 24 miles. In each of the weeks until then, you need to drop the mileage by a certain percentage depending on how much you've done. So from my research that I've done for myself, because in my peak week I did 80 miles, I need to taper for the first week by 20 to 30%. Now, I had a little injury, which I mentioned earlier, to my, I think it was a micro tear to my right quad, so I couldn't train on Monday or Tuesday. So initially I wanted to try and get 54 to 62 miles in, so that would be a 20 to 30% taper. However, because I wasn't able to train on Monday and Tuesday, I've had to drop that down to the 54 mark. I'm going to be running that from starting on Wednesday when I had my first run back after the long run till Monday. Week 1 of my taper is going to be 54 miles, and then week 2 you drop that by a further 20 to 30%. So it's going to look like it's going to be 50% of my actual peak week miles. So that's going to be 40 miles for my second week. So that is going to be from Tuesday to Sunday, with my last long run of 10 miles being on the Sunday before the marathon. And then in the final week, you pretty much limit your workouts as much as you can to make sure that you don't have any fatigue in your legs by the time it comes to race day. So obviously there's the 24 miles on the Sunday. I'm just going to do about maybe 4 shakeout runs of about between 2 to 4 miles in the last week in the lead up to the marathon. Overall, I'll only be running about 30 to 36 miles on the marathon week. So that's how I'm going to taper. In terms of the workouts, I'm going to keep it the same. It will be 2 kind of workout sessions of speed intervals, and then I will have a couple of easy days, and I'll have my long run still. So I've got my long run tomorrow, 14 miles. I'll have another long run next Sunday of 10 miles, and then obviously the long run in the final week will be the marathon. But as well as that, I'll do a lot less easy miles because I don't want to build up as much fatigue in my legs, just to keep them nice and fresh. The workouts themselves will actually be more towards my marathon pace itself, because I want to try and test out and get my body used to running at that pace over certain distances, but not over too big a distance. So for example, a couple of weeks back I did a tempo run of 9 miles. I won't be doing anything like that, because that will take a lot of time for my body to recover from. Also, I'm going to have to taper back on what I'm eating, because I'm not going to be expending too much, and you don't want to put on weight in the lead up to the marathon because then you're just going to feel sluggish. But what you do in the final week is you carb load a little bit. So carb loading is not eating as much as you can, it's just eating predominantly carbs in terms of your diet in the lead up to the race. So that's to build up the glycogen stores in your muscles, so that when you get to the start line on the Sunday, you're literally in peak condition in terms of how much glycogen you have in your muscles, and not having too much body fat on yourself as well. As well as that, it's really important to stay hydrated. Obviously hydration is key. If you're dehydrated, then your heart rate is going to be elevated, your body's going to be working harder, and you're going to get fatigued as well. So I'm drinking lots of water. The final thing I'd have to say about this taper is that it's a mental battle as well. My first week's been pretty awful because I've been quite fatigued from last week's 80 miles, but I'm feeling good now, especially after that hill workout, a lot more energised. Sleep is very important as well. I've been getting a lot more sleep, but apparently when you get to the kind of second and third week, obviously leading up to the marathon, you just can't wait. You're itching to get out and run because you've been doing so much running previously, and you have so much energy in you as well from the taper back in miles. So I'm looking forward to that, but at the moment I'd say my feeling in this taper is I'm a little bit agitated, I'm a little bit moody, and I'm very, very hungry all the time as well. So it's very different, when you've been building up those miles over all these weeks, but it kind of feels a bit surreal that the marathon's only around the corner now, and it's just need to really concentrate and make sure that the workouts I'm getting in are good, and make sure that I'm not overtraining, which would be awful. So yeah, but that's how it's gone so far this week. I've logged 32 miles. No, I've logged 34 miles. That's going to be, as I say, up to 54. Next week, 40 miles, and then it's marathon week. So yeah, a little bit more hard work to do. As you can tell, I'm not full of energy at the moment. But this warm weather's kind of having a factor to play in that as well. Really hoping that the sun is not here on May the 5th. I hope it's just a very mild kind of day. Because that would be awful, and I would definitely not get to achieve my time of 3 hours 30 if it was so hot. Thank you for watching. Hopefully that's helped you to understand a little bit more about what tapering is, and why you should do it leading up to your race, whether it's a half marathon, marathon, or even a shorter race. If you liked it, then like, subscribe, even share it on as well, and the link to the St Wilfrid's Hospice fundraiser is down below. We're at nearly £600 now, so if we can keep that climbing, that would be fantastic. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.